Shane MacLaine actually reminds me a lot of you. I don't know if you ever ran into Shane there, but anyway, he used to have these old tapes, you know, from over here in Ireland, and he'd pass them over to me, and I just listened to this stuff and not have a clue on who it was, but I locked into Dougie immediately. Being a big James Taylor and Jim Croce and John Prine fan, it's like, wow, this guy's every bit as good only. And then it was just a challenge to try and figure out what he was saying. You know, the brogue was so thick.
He's got a really good studio. Nice place down in Glenkelly.
Yeah, he's been trying to get me down for a while. His son produces and yeah, to sit around and do.
Sit around, just chilling.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
And away we go. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I mean, if you want to play, you know, when we're talking, if it thinks of something.
Yeah.
It's going to be...
I'll noodle as if they weren't there.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do, yeah.
That's all. That's all. Bruce. Who is Bruce?
Oh, gee. You know, that was the first question ever asked of me in an interview. The first interview I ever did.
I'm joking.
I know you are. I know you are, because I'm telling you. And I'm like, who's Bruce Guthro? What time of day is it? You know, I change myself every 10 minutes probably.
Music.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get into music?
Big part of the household. Grew up in a family of, there was 9 kids in the family, 1 record player. Everybody had their favorite records. So it just became a very, very big part of what we did. You know, back when I was a kid, there wasn't a lot of TV. Cape Breton, there wasn't a lot of money as well. So music became a very big part of it. Then growing up, we did the festivals in the schools and sang in the choirs and that sort of stuff. So it just became a love of mine. I remember as a kid saying that, you know, someday I'm going to be a singer. And of course, all the brothers saying, all right, you know, you'll probably be pounding nails or...
So are you part of a big family?
Yeah, big family, 9 of us.
So you the one who sings and plays, or?
No one actually. No one made a career out of it, with the exception of me. Everybody sings. No one picked up an instrument to play it. Yeah, it's just myself. Just kind of, you know, I would say it led me. I didn't lead it. It was something that I loved to do and found a life in it.
What kind of stuff do you listen to?
Now, stuff that no one else does probably.
Yeah, back then, what kind of stuff?
Croce, James Taylor, Bob Dylan, Dougie MacLean, like we were just talking about. You know, I had these old tapes that people would give me, these old tapes from across the pond. I had no idea. They were just, you know, cassettes that people would burn off and say, listen to this, listen to this. Grew up 2 streets over from the Bear McNeil, so got involved in the traditional music a little bit and my love of it. Never really learned how to play the tunes, but you know, fell in love with that as well. So I listened to everything because I was forced to listen to whatever anyone else put on, which ranged from the Animals to, you know, Ozzy Osbourne and you name it, you know, to Jim Reeves and Merle Haggard. And my father liked to listen to. So whatever made its way to the record player, you know, I learned to appreciate good music, bad music.
Do you remember the point, Jack, you played your first tune that you went, oh, I can actually play this thing?
Well, when I first bought my first guitar, I remember, again, you know, you're growing up in a big family of boys that don't, oh, they're all into sports and stuff, and they you know, you're never going to learn it. What you waste your money on that for, kind of thing. So I'd hide off in the corner of the house somewhere and learn to play. I picked up a lot of what I learned at house parties and sessions and kitchens and stuff. So it just, no, I don't know if I probably, the first song I ever learned I probably wrote because I didn't have any guitar books or any of that sort of stuff, no lessons. So I'd pick up off of people and I think I was working at Fort McMurray when I picked up my first guitar and there was 3 strings on it and I just did a little, you know, well, that's nice. I can play this thing. Or wait, oh, listen to that. I don't know, there might have been some other foreign substance involved there too. But, no, I couldn't tell you the first song I wrote or played, it's just, you're looking way, way, way back now.
What about, do you do music first or do you do words first? Or does it just come?
Yeah, it varies greatly. I mean, if I find I write a lot in the shower, so it's just kind of a space where no one's around you, and it's just kind of almost like a, you know, you step into a zone in there. It's almost like a meditation, really. I'll just let the water beat off the top of my head and just kind of just sing and find melodies. And so in those cases it comes together. Sometimes I'll sit and just noodle on the guitar, and I'll come up with something that needs a lyric. And sometimes I'll be stuck on a plane for 5, 6, 7 hours and not have anything to write musically, so I'll write some poetry. So various ways. Mostly it would start with just me playing something like that, and in the middle of the schoolyard where the bums have laid to rest, and it's just whatever it is, it comes out. I never work at melody. I should probably go back and craft it and work it a little harder to be more interesting, but I tend to just write what comes natural. I rewrite a lot, I'll go in and I'll craft the chords and work the lyric a lot more, but usually the melody doesn't change greatly for me.
The last album is so spiritual.
Yeah, almost everything I do has spiritual connotations.
Where's that coming from? Is it getting more and more as you get older, or is it just...
Part of it. I think I went through a big soul-searching stage in my 30s, just kind of looking to, what's it all about stage, it has to be more to it than this. And I was never a big religious guy, I was made to go to church when I was younger, and most people, like a lot of people, I shouldn't say most people, stopped when I was stopped being forced to go. But, I believe certainly religion and church has its place, but, spirituality for me is where it's at, it's just believing in something, and, believing that someday we'll answer to something and be accountable for our actions. I think that works its way into my music, just my morals and values and my upbringing, my parents, my family, my place, sense of place, the Cape Breton, the Scottish influence there, the strictness of it all, the perfection in the music, and in everything really, the push to survive. It encompasses spirituality for me. It just kind of makes up who I am and what I believe in.
The song Holy Road, where did that come from?
Good question. I don't know where half of them come from, to tell you the truth. When you find the edge, dangle one foot over the side, feel the fear, know you're alive. That's how I want to live. Banish all you've read, write your own book cover to cover, filled with hope for one another. Isn't that just what you did? Did you just wanna feel the love for you was real? Is that all you were asking for? Nothing less or more. I'm calling you again, seeking reasons, making choices. Are you with me now? I don't know where I should begin, for your words have many voices, and it's a hard road to hoe. This holy road. It probably came from just the start of that, I guess. When you find the edge, that was just me noodling on the guitar and started, oh, that's kind of a cool line. Dangle one foot over the side. Just imagine this guy kind of always living on the edge. And I think I think all songs, at least my songs, begin with a little bit of truth, and then they take on a life of their own. And for this one, I was raised Christian, so I kind of go to, Jesus and Christ, and figure out, how would he feel? How could he feel? How could this man do this? Because he was only a man on earth, and just kind of incorporated that into a song. A lot of people wouldn't know that, probably. I know a lot of people would. I actually spoke to people who believed that it was a relationship-based song. Well, I suppose it is, in a sense, Personality of mine. I probably have, there's probably about 6 of me in here. There's more than people think. There's just 2 because of myself and Runrig. But again, I think a lot of musically, it's my musical mind is so eclectic because of what I grew up in. Again, it comes down to that one record player and so many different genres of music being played on it. Obviously I have my solo career in Canada, which has done quite well for me. And actually, at the peak of it, my strongest album went gold over there, and I had a #1 single. These lads from Scotland come knocking on the door called Runrig and wanted to know if I would be interested in joining the band. So I figured, well, I have nothing to lose. Let's go get a free trip to Scotland. I always wanted to go there anyway. Went over, met the guys, and there was an immediate kinship. It was a big. I loved their music, especially the songwriting, and so there was immediate connection there between the whole Cape Breton Scotland thing. Cape Breton was once populated by 80% Highland Scots, and the boys are all Highland based, so. Or most are, at least, and certainly the songs and the music is. So I just kind of, it was just a natural fit, I think they felt the same thing.
How did they find you?
Marlene Ross was the manager at that point, God rest her soul. She's not with us anymore. But her son, Gordon Ross, used to have Huskies, and he was driving a team of Huskies up in northern Canada. This is the time they were looking for their new lead singer. Scotland got its first parliament in 300 years, and Donnie Munro decided to run for politics, and they needed a singer. So he was over there, and I think he heard me. I'd written a song for a great fiddler from Cape Breton called Natalie McMaster, and I think that's the song that he heard, and he said, geez, there's a voice that, could fit the band. Took it, brought it back. His mother heard it and went, yes, I agree, and it just kind of went from there. They had auditioned a ton of people from over here, and it just, I don't think they didn't hear it. It wasn't different enough, or, it just wasn't working for them. And I could see why. I mean, Runrig in their heyday put 50,000 people in Loch Lomond, and, they were the Scottish band, and Donnie was the voice of the band, unquestionably. So I think a lot of people were very, very nervous about stepping in and trying to audition for that position, whereas for me, I had a gold record, a #1 single in Canada. My career was flying along just nicely over there, so I had nothing to lose. If it worked out, great. If it didn't, well, I was back to business. And so I come in just to have a laugh with it all. I went in and kind of half learned the songs, and I was sitting down, and I like that one as I go, oh Johnny, you're home man, I like that one, that's a good song. I'm going in there, and the voice, aye, oh yeah. So we go down to the studio, and I think we're in Sava at the time, in Glasgow, and the boys, we all go down to try a number or two, and Marlene and my manager from home, Brooks Diamond, is there, and the producer is there, and the engineers, of course, are there, and all the guys from the studio come down to check out this Cape Breton boy that come over, could be the new guy for Runrig. So we, get through the first song, and there's kind of an awkward silence, as you can imagine there would be, and I turned around and looked at the boys. You guys really suck. And there was dead silence. And the studio broke completely, and Marlene put her 2 thumbs up and said, "That's our man." Kind of. we just had to laugh with it all. You know. There was an immediate kinship there, and there was no, I mean, there was no nervousness on my part. I just stepped in to do what I do, and thank God it worked out, because it's been quite an adventure, quite a journey. The song, actually, it's interesting. The song that they had heard spoke to the movement from and the passing down of music, and in this particular case, the fiddle, which is huge in Cape Breton, and the Scottish style, you know, has really been kind of captured and saved there, as well as the dance. But that's when Natalie asked me to write her a song for a fiddle album. That's what I thought of. I thought, well, you know, what are you about, and where do you come from, and who are you, and come up with this thing. I'll play a bit of it for you. Oh, me name is William MacDonnell. I have come across the sea. I am no handsome man of wealth, nor do I plan to be, but I've a treasure fit for kings and beggars all the same. And she comes with me where'er I go. Sometimes she calls my name. My father worked his life away, digging for the coal to the central lowlands every day. With shovel he would go, and he left for me the only thing he felt he had. 'Twas fine. 'Tis my pride and joy, but it's yours now, boy. Read the note he'd left behind. No apple falls far from a tree. Now I pass this fiddle down to thee. Hold it near your heart and soul. Let your passions guide your bow. And when the music sweet does play, know I'll be not far away. Though my body lies down with the cold, my spirit lies for you to hold in the fiddle and bow. So on. So that was the song they heard that they thought, well, there's our boy. Don't know why. Hopefully they didn't regret it at this point.
What's the jazz influence creeping into some of your songs?
Wow. Well, more from a modern era, I suppose, than an old. I was never, I mean, I always loved the big band stuff. I love, you know, Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett and those guys. But and again, they were made it their way to our record player. But more along the lines, I think there's a Canadian artist by the name of Mark Jordan. He actually wrote Rhythm on My Heart for Rod Stewart. But his solo stuff has jazz overtones. I just love it. I mean, most of the time I listen to the music, I listen to music on the road, and I don't want anything that's busy. I don't want anything that's complicated or crowded in my head. I just want to relax and kind of let it take me somewhere. And jazz can tend to do that a little bit. Not busy jazz, but just, you know, more of a pop jazz, kind of easy listening is what I call it. And then Nora Jones, of course, come along, like, wow. And who's the she's a British girl.
Katie Mulholland.
Her and it's more of pop, but there's jazz overtones. Is it Conley something Ray?
Oh, yeah.
You know who I'm speaking about. Sorry, I didn't get your name right, but it's I love her stuff as well. Just like a star across my sky. I mean, I just love that stuff. So it's kind of creeped its way in again, you know, to, I guess, to my soul, to my head, and you know, if it's living there, it's going to make its way out in its song. There's no doubt about it. So the last album, you know, it certainly has jazz overtones, singer-songwriter based pop, you know, with jazz overtones, and you know, a lot of people will always throw the word country with me, because growing up with, you know, a huge influence of James Taylor and the Eagles and people like that, you know, by most standards, that's what today's country is, really. So, you know, if you're not screaming, you know, like the rockers are right now, or you're not singing in, you know, falsettos, which is what the pop world seems to be doing these days, then I don't know where they put you. So I just, you know, it was the first album that I didn't care if radio ever picked it up or played it. I just wanted to make a nice record, something that I would listen to over breakfast, over a cup of tea, you know. So, or when I'm cooking supper in the kitchen, or when I just want to go out and have a pint out on the back deck and not listen to anything, you know, just kind of not have it pull me away, not force me to hear it. Just kind of nice background, nice to listen to, not intrusive, and that's what we went after, and I think we accomplished it. Yeah. Beautiful life. I am. It's, well, Holy Road is on it.
What do you think when Nova Scotia came knocking, asking to do a song?
Well, I thought that was great. I was honored when they came to me. It's interesting. It wasn't a tourism thing. It was more of a Nova Scotia government. They wanted to. It's just a sense of, you know, they really wanted a song that spoke of our sense of pride. You know, there was a time when Nova Scotia was the leading province in Canada. Now it's certainly not. You know, Alberta now, the big oil industry, and you know, everyone thinks, when you say Canada, everyone thinks, if you're over here, you think Ontario, you know, Toronto. You know, is there more to Canada? Well, you're damn right there is. Nova Scotia is a very big part of it. So they want a song that spoke of our sense of pride and accomplishment, and not only in its beautiful landscape, which it has, but in her people and in her industry and all that stuff. So it was quite a challenge, but I learned some wonderful things researching and the information that they gave me about this place, this New Scotland that I was born and raised in.
Did you find it difficult to write because of the passion you got for Nova Scotia?
No, well, it's always difficult to rise to the challenge to write what they want as opposed to what I want. But it was quite simple, really. It came quite quickly, and they liked it. There was a few things they wanted changed, and it was kind of funny because, you know, it was I wrote more about our people. It's where it started. And then it was like, but geez, we need to, you know, it has to speak to the industry. I said, come on, guys, you know, we're talking about art here. You don't really want me to write about some kind of industrial Nova Scotian here. I mean, our industry is fishing and mining, and you know, but it's not now. And this is the stuff I started to learn. You know, the IT business is just kind of really booming over there, and there's all kinds of new stuff happening. And I found out you have a better chance, statistically, this is what they told me now, better chance of living to be 100 years old in Nova Scotia than you do anywhere else in the world. Go figure. I don't know if there's just a lot of old people there, or that's where people go to retire. That's possible too. But I guess statistically.
So what kind of songs you can be writing when you're 100?
When I'm 100? I wish I was 18 again. I don't know. If I live to be 100, I'll be amazed. My lifestyle.
Where do you want to go from here, musically?
Wow. More of the same, I would say. I don't have any grand illusions of being any kind of explosive pop sensation anymore, that's for sure. There was a time I dreamed of that, but I just want to write great songs, make great music, continue to play to appreciative audiences, continue both my split personalities with Runrig and with my solo stuff, as well as do as much television as I can. I have a TV show called The Songwriter Circle in Canada. We did 10 shows, so I'd like to do some more of those. I mean, I'm halfway through writing a play called Boy from the Woods. It's kind of a Christmas song that I'd written, that I'm developing into a play. I have other ideas, just little knick-knack ideas, kind of slash, you know, I don't want to call them inventions, they're just kind of neat ideas that I'm pursuing. So it's just to go on living life and being happy, and that's where I'd want to go with my music. And you know, and music is my life. So you know, when I talk about my life, I talk about my music. Where I want to go, I don't know. I'd like to do a traditional album. I would like to do something that's kind of really rootsy.
Traditional Canadian, traditional Scottish?
No, not well. Yeah, two big, very big, different words. You know, if you find that out, that the words mean greatly different things. Here, when you say folk, when we say folk home, it's, you know, it's Neil Young and Joan Baez. When you say folk here, it's, you know, it's all the diddly music. You know, the diddly diddly diddly. So you know, it's traditional to me is roots. You know, just kind of bass in real instruments. You know, play with a bass, maybe an upright bass guitar, fiddle, and just light percussion. Just kind of really about the songs, broken down. Pull in more of the Celtic influence that I grew up with into the album, and so I mean that's where my head is sitting right now. When I start to think about songs and putting an album together. But how it'll come out, God only knows. I mean, you have to. The trouble with this stuff is a lot of it has to be funded by somebody. Someone has to believe in it. You can do it yourself, of course, and be very proud of that, you know, the 2,000 CDs you have in the cellar, you know, or you can work with people, and you have to give a little to get a little when you work with people. And there, you know, industry unfortunately looks at art as a product. It's just a product, and they need to be able to reach people with it. So sometimes artistic triumphs become massive financial failures. So it's always finding the balance, you know. And so how it'll come out, I don't know. I'm sure it'll probably be a little bit more produced than what I'd like it to be, simply because someone's going to want it to be. But maybe, you know, hopefully I can find the balance. The older I get, the less I worry about what other people want. The more I worry about making what I want. And things are opening up now. They certainly are, distribution-wise, and the whole internet and the iTunes kind of thing is, you can reach a lot more people. It's coming. It's not there yet by any means, but it's coming. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Last question. What's your favourite song of yours?
My favourite song? Almost impossible.
Probably don't know which one means the most to you.
There's a song that blew my mind. A few years back, well, a lot of years back, when I was expecting my first son. It was a song written by Mark Cohen, and I'm not going to be playing it because these are the kind of songs that I don't want to learn, because learning is there's a little bit of work involved, and I just enjoy it so much as it sits. I would never try and learn it, I don't think. But it was called "The Things We've Handed Down," and it just spoke. It spoke to life and generations before and after, and family, and it just again. I mean, I guess it'll probably will mean a lot to your viewers if they don't hear it, but it was probably one of the best crafted songs I've ever heard in my entire life. Would anyone know it? Probably not. Some, you know, a few might. I'm trying to think of if I could do a little tiny bit. I don't know what you look like. I don't know who you are. We've been doing fine without you. We could only go so far. I don't know why you chose us. Were you sent from up above? Is there someone there who knows us? Said we'd give you all our love. I butchered if I'd even tried any of it, but it just blew my mind. For the situation I was in, my first child, it was like, wow, this is the reason I was put here, you know, to do this and to have a baby. I was so full of emotion at the time, and my brother sat me down and said, you have to listen to this. And when I did, I just went, wow, you know. And it's always stuck with me as, I think, one of the greatest songs ever written in my mind. I could give you 10, probably, that I think that are just...
What about yours? What do you think is the best of yours? the one you're most proud of?
A song called Falling. It's it's certainly done the most for my career, unquestionably. I mean, it didn't. I had a #1 single in Canada with a song called "Walk This Road," but "Falling" hung around the top 20 charts for like a stupid amount of time, 25 or 30 weeks or something like that, and it was more about the reaction from the fans that I got from it. The emails were heartbreaking. Stories told. There was one example of a lady from Calgary who had just married a gentleman who had already been married once, and she loved him to death. And he was a great man. She believed he was a great man. But when he split up from his ex with the kids, he cut them off completely. And she could not understand how he could do that, because she knew what a good man he was. How could you walk away from what's yours, you know? And she said she come home, she bought the album, and she came home from work, and he was sitting in his living room, bawling his eyes out, crying, and saying, "It's time that I gave these kids a call," and listening to Falling. And I thought, wow, well, you know, there was a song worth writing right there. So when a song has impact like that, it's hard not to be proud of it, you know, not to be glad you wrote it. And it's basically about forgiveness. That's what the song is about. I will be in town tomorrow. Would you meet me at the station? There is something I would like to talk to you about. It's just this thing that has been on my mind forever. And I was hoping we could find a way to work it out. Well, by the way, this is Martin. Just in case you have forgotten what I sound like, it's been a long, long time. They say that absence helps the heart grow fonder. Ah, well, anyway, I'd like to see you, if you don't mind. The night the Blue Jays won the pennant, I was sitting in the second row, and I thought of you all throughout the game, and how we'd curl up on the sofa on a Friday night. We'd holler at the players like they could hear what we were saying. Look, I'm sorry if I hurt you. I'm sorry that I left, and as of late, it seems I'm sorry all the time. Wishing wells and shooting stars had been my friends, and I have come to realize that all the fault was mine. And I am falling into a world I can't describe, and I am calling, 'cause I'd like to say goodbye. Hey, I will be in town tomorrow. Could you meet me at the station? If it's just to see your face as a train pulls through. I just want to see you laugh or cry or shake your head at me. I just want to see what 20 years has done to you. See, I have nothing left to lose. Oh, no time left to choose if I should let this deadly silence carry on. Look, 20 years or 20 days is far too long for two people who once held each other in their arms. And I am falling into a world I can't describe, and I am calling. take me by the hand, say you understand, or will you want to drive me down onto my knees? These are chances I must take, and I know I must not forsake your right to do and feel just what you please. But I don't have a lot of time to right the wrongs I left behind, undo all the damage I have done. So I'm calling you to ask for your forgiveness. Is that so much to ask of your son? Hey, I will be in town tomorrow. Could you meet me at the station? There is something I would like to talk to you about.
Nice song.
Thank you.
Good. I'm going to leave it at that one. What is it with you Canadians? Really much weird guns.
Well, I don't know if I throw myself in the same genre as those guys, but